Now what are you using here?
This I've got the Jescar correcting compound, Meguiar's microfiber cutting disc, the Rupus LHR 15 Mark II, and then I've got a Kamikaze backing plate on this one. So I'm just going to go over this area in particular is where it's been sanded, and I want to see if I can get all those sanding marks out with a simple compounding step. If so, then we'll go back in and do a finish polishing step just to make sure everything looks good, take some measurements for comparison. See, there's still some slight traces of sanding in here, which means they went like really aggressive with sanding and didn't step down to lower grit. So I might have to be a little bit more aggressive, and more aggressive to start, maybe going a smaller area with more pressure, see if that does it. If that doesn't do it, then I'll have to step up to a heavier,
like M100 or something?
Yeah, that, or going with a Surbuff pad to knock it out.
We really didn't, did you see any other sanding marks elsewhere?
Yeah.
On the car?
Yeah, just on the hood, really.
Right.
Not,
right.
Not, yeah.
That's what I meant, like on the trunk or anything.
Yeah, no. Let me find another area. Get down in.
You're on what, 4.5 on the Mark II?
Yep. Yeah, so that time I brought my polishing section down smaller.
And you're what, 20 pounds?
Yeah, 18, 20 pounds pressure on it. I did a pretty good job of cleaning that up. Yeah, but this hood has got a lot of sanding marks. And it's also reacting a little bit of a harder paint. Mm-hmm. Harder paint obviously takes a little bit more effort. So another thing we're going to want to do is do a test section on the areas with no sanding marks to see if a one-step is going to be good enough to get rid of all that.
So we would do like perfect finish in a yellow pad?
Yep. Yep, exactly. And then what I'll do too is I'll grab, you might hand me a bottle of prep behind you. Thank you. probably what I'll do is I'll do a test section up here with one step. I'll hit this up here with a finishing process just so we can inspect it and make sure that that two-step process looks good. And then I'll do a one-step up there, both using yellow pad and perfect finish to see how that works.
Now I guess we're probably going to need 3 different procedures: carbon fiber, magnesium,
possibly.
Metal.
It may just mean that we change up pressures a little bit in those areas depending on how they react. You get on plastics and stuff, it takes more effort for them to correct. So on the bumpers, we may be just increasing our pressure, bringing our work size down a little bit smaller compared to, say, the hood or a metal door.
Gotcha.
So let me grab a different pad and polish combo.
Same speed, less pressure, right?
Same speed, a little bit less pressure, yes.
I mean, just in general, the foam's going to almost require that, right?
Right. Yeah, and if you get into like a finish pad, white pad, you just can't put as much pressure on it, but you don't want to. Typically speaking, you're compounding, small area, most pressure, one-step polishing, a little bit bigger area, a little bit less pressure, finish polishing, a little bit less pressure still, with an even bigger area, generally speaking. There's always exceptions to that rule, depending on how the paint is reacting. So I'll go ahead and do this up here real quick first. In the main area that I was working looks real good. Starts getting out to the side. You still see the remnants of the sanding in the area where we came to the edge, because I only did a real small area. So that looks clean, way cleaner than anywhere else. And you still have some stuff left. Probably got it maybe 70% correction on a one step. Which is just showing, at least on this roof right here, it's going to require more effort. And then we would do some comparisons like on the metal doors to see how they react. But the way the paint is reacting right now, it's definitely a harder paint than, say, what's on my Porsche.
Roof, same two-step process most likely.
Yep. And then we'll just see how things go in these lower areas.
So generally you'll do your test spots, figure out what your procedure is going to be, and then we'll tape the whole thing up.
Yep. I get to taping. You can do it one of two ways. You can go ahead and tape everything on the car, or you just go section to section.
Yeah.
There really isn't a right or wrong, depends on your mood that day.
Gotcha. Well, since we're going to be convincing other guys to grab a machine so this doesn't take 25 hours, we're going to tape the whole thing, I think.
All right, perfect.
Because what happens when the force pulls you back, your foot naturally comes off the gas. You have to keep your foot to the floor, foot to the floor.